Yo, what's up, it's BenMG Scully, knocking out another video for you guys. And last night, UFC 259 happened. The main event was Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Israel Adesanya being the middleweight champion, and Jan Blachowicz being the light heavyweight champion, as he went up to fight him. And yeah, it was a good event. There was 3 championship fights. Obviously, the main event, Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Then they'd be in the co-main event, which was Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson, or Megan Anderson. I don't know how to say it correctly, but yeah, that was an interesting affair. And then also the Bantamweight championship for the men was Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Now, it was a very entertaining event, and what I thought going into Saturday night was I thought that Petr Yan was going to defend his belt. I had a feeling it would either be a very hard-fought unanimous decision, or maybe a late TKO. I didn't see him knocking out Aljamain, but I did see Petr winning. And I thought if Aljamain Sterling did win, it'd be like a mid-round, third or fourth round submission. You'll see that I wasn't entirely correct, but yeah, we'll get into that in a sec. The co-main event was Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Megan Anderson was 11-4. Amanda Nunes is 20-4, and arguably the greatest female athlete. Well, I say arguably the greatest female MMA fighter of all time. And Megan Anderson had lost by submission to someone that Amanda beat in her last fight, and beat badly. So there wasn't much hope for Megan Anderson, and we saw for pretty good reason. But also then the main event, like I said, Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Now let's get into what I thought would have happened, and then talk about what actually happened, and let's compare. So like I said, I thought the Petr Yan was going to beat Aljamain Sterling. I thought that Amanda Nunes would knock out Megan Anderson, and I thought that Israel Adesanya would win by TKO in round 4 to Jan Blachowicz, and become the 5th ever double UFC champ. So the first UFC champ to hold 2 titles, in 2 different weight divisions at the same time. What actually happened, it was with Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan. It was a good fight. Aljamain was doing very well. It was close. It was competitive. As the fight started going on, Aljamain started not doing as well. And in the 4th round, Petr Yan, while Aljamain was on his knees trying to grapple Petr, Petr framed off of his head, managed to stand up, and then while Aljamain's knees are still on the floor, Petr kicks him hits him with an illegal knee, right in the head. And it's illegal in the UFC to kick a downed opponent in the head, whether it's a knee, a roundhouse kick, or anything like that. Or if you're on the ground and your opponent's in full guard, you can't kick them in the head because their knees are on the ground, something like that. You see that against Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. You see that Tony Ferguson kicks Charles Oliveira in the head and gets a little slap on the wrist for it. So yeah, and because it was a massive shot and Aljamain was completely out of it, he wasn't knocked out, but he did not know where he was. He was clearly concussed, and even after 3 minutes, the ref couldn't get much sense out of Aljamain. He called the fight off, and obviously because it was an intentional illegal knee, they disqualified Petr Yan, and they gave the fight to Aljamain Sterling as the first ever, I believe the first ever, UFC Bantamweight champion to win the title by disqualification. The disqualification was fair, but there's that question now, should they have a rematch right away, because TJ Dillashaw has just come back from cheating, and people are saying, no, TJ shouldn't have a title shot in his first fight back because he cheated. But now they're gonna say that Petr Yan should have the title shot again because he cheated. But then you might say, oh, but Petr Yan has just lost the belt. So did TJ when he fought. He didn't even lose the belt. He was bantamweight champion, went down to fight Henry Cejudo at flyweight, lost. Then obviously it came out that he cheated while he was champion, and had the belt taken off of him. Got 2 years suspension. Served that 2 year suspension. Now he's allowed to come back. He wants to fight for the bantamweight championship, and now everyone says no, you can't fight the champion because you cheated. Then the current champion cheats, loses his belt, and now they say, oh, let's give Petr Yan a second chance. But TJ Dillashaw, obviously he intentionally cheated too. They don't want to give him a new title shot after he served a 2 year suspension for doping violations. Or for, EPO or something like that. After the 2 years suspension, they don't want to give him a title shot. So 2 years after he cheated, they say no. But now right after this champion now, Petr Yan, cheats, they say yes, let's give him a title shot. It is a title shot in that sense. He didn't lose the fight like badly. He wasn't hurt or anything like that. Obviously it was a competitive fight. I believe 2 judges had Petr Yan winning, and 1 judge, it's only 3 rounds had passed at that point. It was in the 4th round. They'd completed 3 rounds, and out of that, 2 judges had Petr Yan winning 2 rounds to 1, and then 1 judge had Aljamain winning 2 rounds to 1. Obviously there was a lot of the fight left, and it was a very entertaining fight as long as it lasted. But yeah, we do need to see it run back, but I do feel bad for TJ Dillashaw, and I think he needs to come back, fight a good contender. Like, I don't know, maybe fight someone like Cody Garbrandt. No. Why did I say Cody Garbrandt? No, he shouldn't fight Cody Garbrandt. Maybe, actually, that would be interesting. Have a trilogy fight. A motivated, unemotional Cody Garbrandt. Maybe a decent fight for TJ. But obviously Cody has fought recently too as well, considering he fought at UFC 250 and had that vicious knockout of Rafael Assunção, I believe, yeah. So yeah, we'll see with that one. Yeah, so they'll be running it back as soon as possible. Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling, after an entertaining fight that ended in Aljamain Sterling being the new bantamweight champion of the world. Next one was the co-main event, Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. This one's going to be a little shorter, but basically Amanda Nunes is the bantamweight and featherweight champion of the world for the women's divisions, and she goes up and down the weight classes. There's only £10 between it, bantamweight being £135, featherweight being £145. She goes up and down and defends both her belts, and she's the first champion ever to not only hold belts in 2 different divisions, but also defend both belts in those 2 different divisions. So obviously she defended her bantamweight belt against Jermaine Durandamy, and obviously now in the last year or so has defended her belt twice now at featherweight. So she fought Megan Anderson, who was a champion in a different organisation before coming to the UFC. Megan Anderson has lost to Felicia Spencer, who Amanda Nunes absolutely dispatched her for 5 rounds, outboxed her, completely outclassed her, battered her for 5 rounds, if I may say so myself. And then they put it in against someone that the girl who just got beat up, someone she beat, let her have a try. And the whole point of this match was that Megan Anderson was 6 foot tall, which is very tall. I'll give it that. It didn't make a difference in last night's fight. Amanda Nunes started strong, and within 2 minutes she landed a couple big shots on Megan Anderson. Megan shoots for a takedown, she gets denied, and then Amanda goes for a submission, and it was a very strange submission. It was like a backwards triangle armbar. So she kind of goes for like a triangle, except instead of Amanda being on bottom, putting Megan in a triangle, she's got her back. Megan is sitting down, but Amanda locks a submission, and while having her arm in the triangle, then pulls the arm and flexes the elbow to turn it into an armbar, and Megan taps. It wasn't a big surprise. I thought she would have won by knockout, but it's an impressive performance nonetheless. Like I said, the matchmaking in the women's bantamweight and featherweight divisions isn't that great because there isn't much of a talent pool there. Not as much as you see about loaded divisions like the lightweight division and the welterweight division, and the featherweights and the flyweights and that. Like, there's so many world class fighters in those divisions that you don't really have to. You can pick any name out of that division in the top 15. You can pick any name out of that hat, and that will be an interesting fight that will sell. Whereas in the women's divisions, I don't think many people can name 5 fighters out of every weight class. I don't even think I could, and I'm not even going to try if I'm honest. But, Amanda Nunes obviously wins in spectacular fashion. Greatest female fighter of all time. And, let's see what she does next. Let's just see whoever the next sacrificial lamb is, really. But, moving on to the main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya. Like I said, I thought Israel would win by late TKO, considering how easily he dispatched of Paulo Costa in his last fight, and how easily he got rid of Robert Whittaker as well, who's now the #1 contender in the middleweight division. It was interesting to see what Izzy could do at light heavyweight to become a champ, and the fight started off alright for Izzy. He wasn't as dominant as he normally is. He won the first round in my opinion, and Izzy didn't seem to do as much in the second round, and Jan seemed to stop biting on the feints of Izzy as much, and he started landing some good shots of his own, and I scored the second round for Jan. Third round looked a little better from Izzy. He was kind of getting his feet under him a little bit more and opening up a little bit more, and he was very technical, but Jan just didn't do enough to take that round. So I give round 1 Izzy, round 2 Jan, round 3 Izzy. Then round 4 starts, and 2 minutes into that round, Jan takes Izzy down and maintains top position for 3 minutes. So regardless of Izzy controlling the stand-up or not, which he wasn't really dominating anyway, it was kind of back and forth, maybe stealing the stand-up. The 3 minutes of top control at the end of that round definitely gave the round to Jan Blachowicz. Then 5th round starts, and for the first 2.5 minutes, Izzy was putting on a striking clinic. At this point, it's 2-2 in the last round. Whoever takes this last round wins. Izzy was putting on a striking clinic for the first half of that round, and then literally almost exactly 2.5 minutes into the 5-minute round, Jan gets a takedown on Izzy and holds top position for the rest of the round, and does very well in position. So bell goes, all 5 rounds being completed, and the winner was by unanimous decision. The judges scored the contest 49-46, 49-45, and 49-45 for Jan Blachowicz. So Izzy has now lost for the first time in his career. I had the last round for Jan. I gave it 48-47, so there's 1 point between them. But the judges, they had it 3 or 4 points between them. They gave the last round a 10-8, which means that normally a 10-8 round, the way the judges score it, is if you win a round, you get 10 points, and if you lose, you get 9. And if you get absolutely battered or dropped all the time, basically, if you get absolutely battered or mauled, you get 8 points instead. So you're 2 points under, which can take 2 rounds to get back. If you're in a 3-round fight, you're basically not going to win unless you stop them. If it's ever a 10-8 round. But I was very surprised that the judges, they gave the last round a 10-8 to Jan Blachowicz. I don't know why they gave a 10-8 out that quick, that easily. Where Jan won the round, but he didn't dominate Izzy at any point. It was a very close fight. and by the looks of it, some people going into the last round had it 3-1 for Izzy. So they thought that Izzy was winning the fight. And obviously if they already had 3 rounds for Izzy, some people think Izzy won this fight. Probably more people thought Jan than Izzy. And I think Jan winning is fair. It was very close. In terms of who won the fight in general, like if it was one round that went, if it didn't have judges scoring it or whatever, and they just had 5 rounds and you just judge the fight as a whole, it's very close. It could have gone either way. But in terms of judges scoring every round, yeah, Jan won that fight by 1 point. And Izzy is still the middleweight champion. Jan is the light heavyweight champion. Now he's a legitimate one, because some people think that you need to defend your belt, because they say getting the belt is one thing, defending it against a top contender is another. And once you can do that, you show that you are a true champion then, because not only can you beat someone, but you can, you know, be the best in the world and still train hard enough and want to win enough to be able to hold on to that belt and beat another top dude. So congrats to Jan Blachowicz. Congrats to Amanda Nunes, and unlucky to Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling on the disqualification, and I'm excited to see when they rematch. But yeah, now a good question is what do I think is next for these fighters? So let's talk about that. So out of these 6 championship fighters last night, what do I think is next for them? Let's start with Petr Yan. Obviously, he's going to challenge Aljamain Sterling, obviously in an immediate rematch in the next couple of months to resolve the controversy with the disqualification that happened last night. So that's pretty quick and easy. Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan 2 is going to happen hopefully sometime in the middle of this year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Amanda Nunes, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen with Amanda Nunes. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen with Megan Anderson, because, like I said, the talent pool in that division isn't very deep. There aren't many people to fight that are high level, because you can beat anybody. You could beat anybody in that division and have a 10-0 record in that division. If you fight Amanda Nunes, that's a completely different beast. She's the only one of her kind, so you can never truly have had enough practice in the UFC for Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is the only one of her kind in that featherweight division. Bantamweight, yeah, there's more fighters, yeah, there's more people with that caliber. But even like people like Holly Holm and Jessica I don't even think Jessica I fights at Bantamweight anymore. But let's just say Jessica I did. I'm pretty sure she could. Still, you know, they're not even at that level. Like, I think there's maybe 5 fighters in the females division, maybe 6, that are world class, and that could beat, and they're all great against each other. Maybe Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Weili Zhang, Rosnama Nunes, maybe Jessica Andrade. But I swear those 3 aforementioned strawweights have beaten. Well, 2 of them have definitely beaten Andrade. Valentina Shevchenko and then Amanda Nunes, really. And Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko fought twice already, so, you know, that would be a good fight to see again. But they're 2 weight classes apart, and I don't think that Shevchenko is. I have a feeling Shevchenko may not want to move up to have a 3rd fight with Amanda, because then having 4 losses on her record, 3 of them to the same person, that's not a good look, is it? But yeah, so I don't know what any of those are going to do, because I don't really know many people in that division anyway. When Chris Cyborg was in there, I was interested, but then Amanda knocked her out super easy. Chris then beats Felicia Spencer, and then obviously, and then she doesn't get another fight in the UFC and leaves. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with them 2 from now on, but we'll see. Amanda Nunes is just going to get someone else to fight and probably win in spectacular fashion again and look incredible and still be double champ and still be the best, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in the female divisions, and yeah, with the main event though, Izzy should just stick to 185. Eventually, maybe go back to 205 to fight again. Maybe not Jan. If Jan loses his next fight, then maybe I think Izzy would have a good fight against someone like a Johnny Walker, or maybe someone like a Magomed Ankalaev, or I'm not entirely sure. Maybe someone like Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos, someone like that. That would be interesting to see. So there are fights for Izzy at 205, but they're not world championship fights. And if Izzy is the world champion at 185, until I think he should get another championship shot at 205, I think he should just stick at 185 for now. Obviously he's got some good challenges coming up. Obviously Costa is fighting Whittaker very soon, and probably the winner of that should get a title shot, especially if Whittaker wins. Till is fighting someone soon, I believe. I don't know who that is, but Till will be fighting someone soon, I believe. And if Till wins that fight, he should get a step up in competition, maybe fight a top fiver, and then from that point then, maybe if he wins, then he should get maybe a title shot too, because that's just an interesting fight to see. Adesanya and Till have both said, with all respect to each other, they want to fight each other really bad because the styles match up, because they're both very, very elite stand-up fighters. So it would be a very much stand-up affair. There wouldn't be any threat of wrestling, so the true stand-up skills of each other can come out. Because when they're in there with someone who can wrestle, they always have to be, like, they can never be 100% with their stand-up, because if they overcommit, they're going to get taken down. Whereas, if they're in a fight against someone who they know isn't going to bother with clinching and takedowns, they can just open up and basically have a Muay Thai match, basically. So that'll be an incredible fight to see, whether it'll be fireworks or a tactical, like, chess match, like what we saw with Till and Whittaker, or Adesanya and Anderson Silva, of course, or like what we saw last night. Regardless of what it is, I think I think Adesanya's got so many fights on at middleweight. I would just recommend him stay there until either he's had a few more and deserves another fight, or until Blachowicz loses the title. One or the other. We'll see. And for Blachowicz, just obviously he's just going to hold on to that belt. Probably have a fight with someone like, I don't know, someone in the top 5. It'd be interesting to see if he ever gets to fight John Jones. That'll be an interesting one, to see if John Jones can hold his own against the light heavyweights. Obviously he moved up after arguably losing to Dominic Reyes. A lot of people think Dominic Reyes beat John Jones, and then Jan Blachowicz beats Dominic Reyes without too much issue. So there is that question. But it's not all about that. It's not that I beat you and I beat him and he beat you, therefore I beat you. That's not how it works. It is a game of rock, paper, scissors. You may beat paper. You might be scissors. You may beat paper, and paper may beat rock. But that does not mean that scissors can beat rock. That is just how it works sometimes. I don't know if that was confusing, but yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it was a very good card, like I said, and yeah, I'm excited to see UFC 260 being Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World. That'll be a massive fight to see, and I can't wait for that. But until then, I'll see you guys soon. Ben MG Scully is out.